access control list, part 4. So the last lecture videos we discussed extensively on access control list, and these last parts of the lecture will be based on configuration. So we'll be configuring the standard access control list, and we're going to be taking a look at the lab guide here to guide us in the configuration side. Now you are the newly employed senior network engineer for ADC Nets. Now the management has been so worried about the data confidentiality and integrity of their management servers so that unauthorized users don't have access to management servers. Now you have been tasked to ensure the following. Customer care department does not have access to the management database to ensure data confidentiality. IT support department does not have access to the management database except the lead IT supports. So that is the lab guide. Now, to start with, let's see whether the customer care can access the management network. So I'm going to be using this to test first. I think I've done that before, so let's just quickly test. Ping 172.16.23, which is the one of the servers here. We have .3 and .2. So if I submit, you can see that is working. Okay. If I test from here as well, from this lead, let's say from these IT support departments, the same thing is working. And we can test from, if I test from any of the clients here as well, I ping that same server, you can see that we can reach all the clients in IT support, in customer care, and in admin. They can reach this. By the time we are done, we should be able to deny customer care access to management, IT support access to the management server, except this guy here, the lead IT support. But we're going to still be permitting the admin because we're not asked to deny the admin people. So to do that, being a standard access control list, I said in the previous video, you're going to configure the standard access control list close as possible to the destination node. In that case, close to the server. So I'm going to be picking this router 1. So on router 1, so we say conf t, we're going to say access list. You can see you have standard and extended. Being standard now, you have from 1 to 99. So I will say 10, and I'll say question mark. So I'm permitting, I want to permit. So I'm permitting, let's check. So I'm going to be permitting the lead IT supports while denying others. So the lead IT support is 192.10.13 clients. So 192.10.13. So host. So I will say 192.168.10.13. With card mask, exact match, I'll say 0.0.0.0. And I'll say enter. Then I'll say access list 10 again. I'm going to be denying 0.0.0.255. That is deny, changing this to deny now, deny, I'm going to be denying 192.168.10.0, meaning I'm denying all other clients within this network 192.168.10.0 except 10.13. Note, I make the permit statement, permit 10.13 to be the first statement, because I told you, once there's a match, the router doesn't execute the other statement any longer. So this one will take precedence, higher precedence over the second statement. The first statement takes higher precedence over the second statement. So misconfiguration, if you make the 10.13, that is permit 192.168.10.13, the second statement, what's going to be happening is that it's going to be denying that 10.13 because it's going to evaluate this one first. It's going to evaluate this one first. And 10.13 is within that network. So you need to be more specific. So permitting 10.13 first, followed by denying 10.0. Okay? Then I want to deny, so I'm going to submit that. Then I want to deny the customer care network as well, which is 172.16.10.0. So I will do that. So I'm going to do that. Oh, sorry. So (172) access list. So I'm denying 172.16.10. Yes, 172.16.10.0. With card mask 0.0.0.255. I'll submit. Let's see what's happening here. Deny. So address 172.16.10.0 with card mark 0.0.0.255. Okay, so that's that. So if I say do show access list, so you can see the first statement, I'm permitting host 192.168.10.13. Second statement, I'm denying the network 192.168.10.0, and the third statement, I'm denying 172.16.10.0. This 172.16.10.0. So I'm denying that. Now, take notes that you have implicit denial. If I stop this conversation, if I end this conversation here, it simply means even the admin people, network 192.168.20.0 clients, will also be denied. Why? Because of the implicit denial. So in that case, I need to go back and complete this conversation by saying access list 10, access list 10. I will now say permits. Permit what now? I will say permit any. So that negates the implicit denial. So meaning if you are not 192.168.10.13 and you don't belong to network 10.0 and you don't belong to network 172.16.10.0, then the permit any will catch you, and that makes it possible for the admin guys to be able to access the management network or the database here. So that is how it's being done. So that's how it's being done. Now, after creating your access list, right, say do show access list again. You can see now, statement 40, this is the first statement, permits. Statement 20, deny this. Statement 30, deny this. And statement 40, permits any other IP addresses. Now, to apply the access control list now, we are going to apply the access control list to the router interface. So the correction is of two parts. The global correction side, which is building the access control list, we've done that. Now applying it to an interface is only when you've applied the access list to an interface. That is when the access control list will be what? Activated. That is when it's going to be in use by the router. Now, applying the access control list now, you can apply the access control list in two different directions, either inbound or outbound. Now, when you apply the access control list in inbound direction, it simply means you want the access control list to be executed as the traffic is entering. When you say inbound, as the traffic is entering the interface, you want it to be what? Executed. Now, when you say outbound, it means you want the access control list to be executed as the traffic is leaving the interface, outbound. Or in another way, you could say, when you specify inbound means before routing takes place, you want the access list to be what? Executed. And when you say outbound, it means before routing has taken place, you want the access control list to be what? Executed. Okay, now applying it to an interface now. Let's take a look at this diagram. I have three interfaces here. This interface here, which is gigabit 001. We have gigabit second interface there, gigabit 000, and serial interface 010. Of course, the same rule. I said applying access control list as close as possible to standard, as close as possible to the destination node. So if you say as close as possible to the destination node, it means you are still going to be applying it on this interface. If you apply it on this serial 010, it's going to be denying traffic from the lead and even the admin access to this management database. So it has to be applied on this interface 001, gigabit 001, which is interface attached to the management server. So in that case, is it going to be inbound or outbound? It's going to be outbound, because we are going to be applying it as the traffic is leaving the interface, that is coming out of gigabit 001. You want it to be executed. Or in another way, routing has taken place because the traffic is coming from this side. It gets to the router here. It's going to be routed to this second router here. From this interface, it's going to be routed to this interface. So routing has taken place already. So since you want that access list to be executed as the traffic is coming out of the interface, then you specify what? Outbound. Okay, so applying that access control list now, I'm going to apply it on gigabit 001. So I will go back gigabit 001, and I will say interf gigabit 001. To apply access control list to an interface, you specify IP, then say access group, not access list, followed by the access list number. I'll say access list number 10. Now specify whether it is inbound or outbound. I'm specifying out, meaning it is going to be executed as the traffic is coming out of the interface. Then enter. So that is that. So let's check whether this whole thing is working. So they said the customer care should not be able to access the management. So let's test that again. Initially we've tested it. Initially it was working before that is control list. Now I've applied that control list now. So let me see whether I can still ping that server. You can see destination host unreachable. Destination host unreachable. So if I go back to this 11.11, let me see if I can still, initially we could ping that server. We could ping it. Let's try it again. .3 destination host unreachable. But the lead IT support should be able to ping. So let me ping from the 13. If everything is working fine, the lead IT support should be able to ping. So let's try that. This IT support, the lead IT support should still be able to ping. Let's see. Good. You can see the lead IT support is still able to ping, but that's the only guy that will be able to ping that management server from the network, that is from the IT support network 192.168.10.0. Okay, so let's try. We are not supposed to restrict access from admin to management server. So let's try to ping from here. Let's try to ping from here. Yes. Even the server also should be able to ping. So let's see from the server. Ping 172.16.20.2. Okay. Successful. .3 successful. Alright, so that's how to implement access control list standard. Okay, so I hope the class is informative, and I want to thank you for viewing.